Have you ever seen someone who couldn't stop rambling incoherently when recording an episode? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that they have to split an episode again because even after editing it's too long? My name is Editing Chris, and this is the second half of our Quetzalcoatl episode. If you haven't listened to the first one, I recommend going back and doing so. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of it now. He has always been depicted as a friend of humanity.
Yeah.
So our thought process was, should we just try and talk to him?
Oh.
Yeah.
Fair.
It is unusually straightforward, but I got volunteered to be the one to try and chat him up, and
well, team leader does have its privileges, I guess.
privileges, curses, you name it. Yeah, so I basically phoned home and explained the situation, and together with the higher ups, we came up with a kind of battle plan, some contingency plans in case he's not friendly, but also a big honking manual as preparation for the interview, basically. So
Okay.
we had a whole booklet of questions that we thought would be important or interesting or useful, and we came up with that whole document, and I was preparing for that.
Okay.
And yeah, then a few days later, I was ready to go, and we decided where to better try to do this than in his most famous temple in Teotihuacan. Oh, is it? No.
I've gone completely blank on it all of a sudden.
Teotihuacan is what it's called, I think. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with these names. It's
That's okay. As I say, I've gone completely blank on the name myself. So
yeah. So whatever more intelligent people would call it, it is the most famous temple to Quetzalcoatl is in this city.
Okay.
And we basically cut off the area from the public for a while, just to keep everyone safe, because we weren't quite sure what was going to happen.
No, you wouldn't be.
And also, we didn't want anyone to interfere. So we, I don't even know what the PR spin was, but these guys handle it if they have to.
Yeah.
They basically shut the whole thing down so nobody would come in unexpectedly. And there was climbing up the ancient Aztec temple with a little booklet under my arm with I don't know how many pages. And I was ready to do the interview. All I was missing was some hot sauces and chicken wings. And yeah, we
Oh, so I enjoyed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. You may ask yourself, or the listeners may ask themselves, why we didn't send anyone who actually speaks the Nahuatl language. And to be quite frank, we don't have that many people in a CCI compared to the world population.
Yeah.
And there's not that many speakers of that language still around, and we just don't happen to have anyone currently active who speaks that language, as far as I know.
Not that I can think of.
If we do, then I don't know why nobody told me. But I think we might have had one, but recently there was we lost a couple people. I don't know how much I can tell about that, but
yeah.
Anyway, let's not dwell on that. End result, I was the one. I was being the bait or representative. Choose your words.
You were the CCI's ambassador.
I was the ambassador, exactly. And as we all know, ambassadors never got killed historically.
Very quickly, I do have to ask.
Yes.
Is this the first time you've been ambassador since we had to deal with Santa? Because I know that they weren't allowing you to do it for quite a while.
Well, I mean, in many ways, it's the Quetzalcoatl is maybe not the polar opposite of Santa, but he's as far away as you could get. So maybe that's why someone gave the green light, or maybe it was just because nobody else wanted to do it. Who knows?
We can risk him. Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, sorry, back on topic.
Yeah, back on topic. I had one of these, we talked about it earlier, one of these conch shells so that I could basically get his attention was the idea.
Yeah.
You know, a little music to start it off, and yeah, I blew into the thing, and I was ready. I was ready to do a whole spiel like Almighty Quetzalcoatl, Lord of the Winds and the Dawn, and I even had yeah, I had a translation into Nahuatl for that, and I don't know how accurate that was, but luckily I didn't need it. Basically, immediately Quetzalcoatl appeared before me, and it was a sight to behold.
I can bet.
And it was almost weird how easy it was. It was like he was waiting for the attention. I don't know if he's maybe a drama queen, but...
Maybe. Don't introduce him to social media.
We should. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he has an Instagram account. Speaking of that, he is a shapeshifter, and he does have a human form that he sometimes uses, so...
Oh, okay.
Maybe he is on Instagram, so who knows? Anyway, I keep getting distracted. Yeah, well, I was standing there, and it looked like he basically came out of the ground almost.
Yeah.
I don't know how exactly he did that. I can only assume that he was maybe waiting in a smaller form and then basically transforming as he went up into the sky, maybe.
Potentially.
But, you know, I can only guess. But just have to imagine you stand there and this huge, for all intents and purposes, God comes out before you. And, you know, it depends on your definition of... what is a god and what is not, but
yeah,
what is not up to discussion is that is an ancient and very, very powerful being, and it looks very imposing.
Yeah,
and it's this big giant serpent in almost blinding bright colors. It was like the feathers were not only brightly colored, it looked almost like they were emitting light. It was I've never seen something like that.
That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, he did his whole thing of coming up and then looked down on me, and how can I describe this? It was awe-inspiring, definitely. And there was also this weird feeling. Like, of course, he is very physically imposing. He's a huge honking serpent.
Yes, yeah.
But at the same time, we have talked about with the Leviathan, I think, that with some things there's this deep, instinctual, maybe genetic fear response that we have when we stand in front of the Leviathan or some other beings.
Yeah, it's something primal in that just
something
is
primal.
there in your body.
Exactly. And the only way I can describe this moment is that there was this same concept of primalness, is that a word? But the same kind of quality of a feeling, but not in form of fear. It was like I don't know, kinship is the wrong word because it implies both parties being on the same step of the ladder, but maybe you know what I mean. It's like there was some kind of connection, and when you stand before him, you immediately kind of feel that while he is very imposing looking and very big, and he could crush you if he wanted to, he won't do that. And you kind of immediately understand that for some reason. It's
okay.
Of course, that's only anecdotal, and maybe only I felt that way because I was a weirdo, but...
Entirely possible.
Entirely possible, but yeah. Nevertheless, I was quite nervous, is fair to say, I think.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him, and when he responded, he had this kind of very deep, very booming voice, and it was not only loud, but it was kind of like
Resonates.
what I would say is that human language wasn't really designed for this kind of size and this kind of anatomy. But I tried to, working with my phonetic translation, tried to talk to him, and it was kind of it was very surreal, because the first thing this god said to me, this ancient Aztec god, basically he laughed at me and actually responded to me in perfect German.
Oh,
that why not just talk to him in the language I know? Because turns out we mentioned this earlier. He is, among other things, the god of knowledge and learning, and he speaks a lot of languages. I wouldn't be surprised if he speaks all languages. And
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was this very kind of surreal, amusing situation when ancient Aztec god was speaking my native language to me. And I fumbled around a bit and basically said that I had questions because weird things are happening and we are wondering why he has returned and all of that. And summary was that he said to me he would give me 2 questions because he does not have more time.
Okay.
He didn't say why, really. He only said he has to prepare. And
that's quite ominous.
That is very ominous, and it is one thing that I had not anticipated, and nobody who worked on this interview preparation had anticipated. And we should have known, really, because whenever there's this old intelligent being or god or whatever you want to call it, they have this tendency. I'm trying to find a way to say this without being, struck by lightning immediately. They have this tendency to be very, very vague and mysterious and not give clear statements.
Never.
And that is a problem when you are trying to find actual factual answers for things.
Yeah. They tend to be they have an agenda, is the right way to kind of put it, I would say. And when you're dealing with some of these bigger creatures, which again, if we go back to what I said during one of the Leviathan episodes, there are some things that we don't contain, we don't capture, we don't do anything. We just try and protect as many people as we can in that moment, in the safest possible way that we can think of. Because they've got their own ideas, they've got their own designs, and what me and Chris here, we're not stopping them. This isn't an action movie. This isn't some crazy film. We're not some incredible superheroes. We're just trying to do a job. We're just trying to protect the people.
Yeah. Although from the vibes I got, I think he would be at least amused when I try to do a Gandalf and say, "You shall not pass." As you say, they definitely have their own agendas, and in a lot of ways, you just have to admit that they kind of live on a different level than we do, and you are probably not gonna explain your entire life choices to your dog, whether you love him or not. And I imagine it's kind of a similar dynamic from their point of view. But another important aspect, I think, is they just like to be dramatic.
Yeah.
They just like to be dramatic, and there's nothing easier for being dramatic than to be vague and mysterious.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if half the time they would just, as soon as they are out of earshot, would just start laughing because we are trying to interpret their words and all of that. But
Yeah,
it's wild.
Some of those creatures are good actors.
They are.
Especially the shapeshifters, actually.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, so there I was with a little printed out booklet with hundreds of questions, and I had just been told that I was gonna be allowed to ask 2 of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had to on the fly decide which 2 questions out of these however many
Yeah.
were the most useful or important or interesting. And I don't know. You're probably gonna say I could have thought of better questions, and I'm sure you could have. And probably all of our listeners will say they would have thought of different questions. But yeah, when you're on the spot, you can only try to do what you think is gonna help.
Okay.
So
what did you ask Quetzalcoatl?
What's your favorite color? No. I was tempted, but no. Yeah, the 2 things I asked. So the first one was I asked him with a little bit of a lead up to kind of cheat around a bit, maybe. I said we have noticed that Leviathan is kind of restless. You are suddenly back. Is there some event that has happened or will happen soon that we should know about and prepare for?
Yeah, reasonable question.
I thought so, and yeah, the answer was as mysterious as it was unhelpful. And he said, the long rest is about to end.
Okay.
If anyone out there, there's this part of why we got the okay to do an episode about this, because if there happens to be anyone out there who knows for certain what these things mean that we talk about here, then yeah, then give us a message, because we are scrambling to find out what is happening. And yeah, with that ominous answer out of the way, I thought I would ask, basically, are you on our side? Which I felt was would be nice to know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think there might have been some more pertinent questions, but again, I can't argue with you. I wasn't there.
I was panicking, and I wanted to know if we had to fight this thing or if it would maybe fight for us.
Okay.
Yeah, either way, yeah, the answer was I am the protector. So make of that what you will.
Okay. Hopefully a protector on our side, but okay, we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it would be it would fit the mythology around him, so I can only hope that this is what he meant.
Well, I mean, at the very least, the positive side is Quetzalcoatl hasn't been spied raising towns and cities. So
exactly. Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take it for now.
Yeah. It was the way I found this was basically I flipped through the pages and basically chose at random a question, because I didn't know how to decide what was the most important one out of these, like, I don't know, 300 important questions. Yeah, so
yeah, no, it makes sense.
Maybe they should have sent someone else, but what are you gonna do?
Hey, it happens. And to be fair, at this point, then, if Quetzalcoatl is willing to talk in this manner, they probably will. One of the higher ups, one of the really, the really higher ups, ones we don't know about, they will probably be posted to the temple and try and get more conversation out of them.
I assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I said before, I have the feeling that he might be a bit of a drama queen, so I wouldn't be surprised if he took the chance to give more cryptic answers to anyone who might try and contact him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was actually during debriefing, I actually got kind of a stern talking to, if you will, about this whole thing. You mentioned the high ups that we don't know about, and somewhere between them and us, there's the slightly higher up ones that we do know about, but usually don't deal with, except for this kind of situation. And I don't know if I'm allowed to name any names, so just to be safe, I won't. But yeah, they basically tore me a new one about why I didn't get all the information that they basically sent me there to deliver, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I know better than to fight with them, so I basically just try to be apologetic and try to explain my reasoning and the situation. And
dear listener, please understand, we have middle managers too.
Yes, we do, and it's every way as bad as it is in retail or anywhere else.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to shout out though, Mickelson was also there in the debriefing, and this whole thing was going on, and out of all people, Mickelson stood up for me and basically slammed the book of 300 questions on the table and said, "What the am I?" I'm sorry, I'm gonna beep that. What the heck are my agents supposed to do in this kind of situation? They are talking to God, and I have to decide on the spot to ask 2 questions. What would you do? And basically, they sent me out, and I don't know how long Mickelson stayed in there, but, Mickelson, if you are listening to this, I know we're not always seeing eye to eye, but that was a move, and thank you, and you earned a lot of respect. I just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
It does. I mean, I made a joke earlier, obviously, about yes, we have middle managers too, but again, we also have good, managers and handlers and whatnot within the CCI. Yeah. There are some people who are there to, tick boxes. Luckily, they don't tend to be field agents. Mickelson, on the other hand, manager of one of the, I don't really like to say manager, more a senior handler. Probably a good way.
Yeah, you could say that. And I've been butting heads with him over the years for all kinds of things, but at the end of the day, we're both just trying to do what we think is best. And what can I say? He's a decent dude.
There's worse. You tend to butt heads with Mickelson more because you have a difference of opinion and he's very set in his ideas.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rather than he's getting in the way and you just can't do your job.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That being said, I don't tend to work with him. He's a bit of a
I'm not gonna say much because I just said that he earned a lot of respect from me, but there's definitely been occasions in the past where it was tough to work together, but it's good to see that at the end of the day, he does have my back, and
yeah. Well, if that's everything, do you know where there's a wonderful place where you can also have someone else's back? Yes, this is where I'm going with this one.
Well, if you are interested in having backs, maybe you could look around on our Discord. There's lots of channels, lots of backs that you can have, and just follow the link in the episode description or the podcast description or wherever else you might find a link.
Or just search for us.
Click on it and join us. And you can talk about the episodes that we have done. You can request creatures for us to talk about, because between Jack and I, we have dealt with a lot of different beings, and chances are that one of us can tell you something about them.
Yeah.
And it's we would love to have you there. And other than that, while you are listening to this, why not give us a rating, because that always helps us out. Give us a subscription so you don't miss out on future episodes. Also, we at this point have a decent backlog of older episodes, which are always worth to listen to if this happens to be your first one. So
and one of the positives is that they're all evergreen. You don't need to listen to them in order, so pick and choose your favorite creatures and go from there.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that is pretty much the advertising segment done, unless you have anything to add.
Just rate us, subscribe to us, follow us, anything.
Yes.
Always
Please
feeds
the
the
algorithm.
makes the algorithm happy, and
Yes.
gets us a few more people to brainwash. I mean, educate.
You're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud.
Oh no! Oh no! But yeah.
Please the algorithm. Not many people know the algorithm is an ancient god, and we have to appease it, lest it will devour the sun. And yeah, you are personally gonna save the world if you give us a 5-star rating. So thank you very much for that. Your medal is in the post. And with that, I think there's only one thing left to say, and that is goodbye.
Goodbye.